Hello everyone, welcome back to August Wisdom. This is episode 8 in my series of 31 episodes in 31 days. Today we're going to talk about how things always go exponential in any project, in any pursuit that you're undertaking. Things always go exponential. Your results always go beyond your imagination, beyond what you could have imagined at the start. This is a Deep Psychology podcast. I'm Ross Edwards, author, coach, podcaster, and avid practitioner and teacher of psychology and spirituality. In listening to this podcast, you're part of the worldwide deep psychology community of tens of thousands of people undertaking profound personal transformation. You can find me on Spotify and Apple, where I release new episodes every Thursday. If you dig what I do and want to help the show grow, share this with a friend and leave a review. You can also go deeper with this work by training with me at deep-psychology.com. Let's get started. So I just want to do a quick plug, and that is that for the month of August, I'm offering 25% off my coaching program and an extra 10% off if you have never done classes or coaching with me before. And I can see the numbers growing for this podcast week by week, month by month. So I know that there will be new people here. Welcome to the show. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date. And I hope that you're enjoying this August series. So the topic for today's episode is things always go exponential. So the basic fact here that I want you to realize or to either think back to the pursuits that you've been successful in your life, or look at your current pursuits and how they're going. I want you to know that things always go exponential. Your progress always goes exponential past a certain point. Now, why am I talking about this? Basically, as humans, we have a very short-term time frame. Even if we think we're rational and scientific and we can plan and imagine and all the rest of it, actually our time frame is usually pretty short, right? We usually want a solution to things right away. And being a meditation teacher, being a coach, I see this all the time in people that come to me for help with one thing or another, that they want a solution to their problems, and that's understandable, but they want a very quick solution, right? And what's the problem? That whenever you do any form of any project, any self-improvement work, any form of therapy or coaching, or anything that you're doing to change yourself or your life in some way, what you'll find is that in the initial phases, and you can see this looking back in your life history, even back to school, for example, where you studied various subjects, or university perhaps, what you'll see that in the very initial stages of that, there was very little progress. You know, a week or two in, or a month or 2 months in, in the grand scheme of things, you really didn't get very far, right? And it actually took a while for you to get, let's say, fluent or competent in this thing. Let's say you started a business, you'll realize that in the first few months, nothing much probably happened in most cases. And it was only after, 6 months, 12 months, years, that things started to take off for you. So when we come into something like coaching or doing classes or starting a business or starting to learn a language, for example, we come in sort of looking 2 months ahead. And this is just completely inadequate, because things do not happen short term, ever. Pretty much never happen short term, right? But what I can promise you is that long term, if you have the right technique and if you're persistent enough, you put the hours in, things always go exponential. And what do I mean by this? I want to be very clear. Let's say you come into language learning, right? And you think, at the start, you're probably thinking 2-3 months ahead, 6 months ahead at best, right? because you're desperate for results. You feel like a newbie, you feel sort of incompetent, but you're also excited to start. So you're thinking 2-3 months ahead. That's totally normal. What you'll probably think in the next 2 or 3 months or 6 months is possible is basically the earliest stages of language learning. And what you'll tend to do is you'll tend to equate that with your potential as a whole, because you can only think 6 months ahead at most. You'll think, what can I learn in 6 months? And then you'll say, right, that's as far as I'm ever going to get with language learning. The problem is that you're not taking into account the fact that things go exponential, right? So what you need to do is you need to lengthen your time horizon. You need to say, okay, 6 months, I probably won't be as far along as I think I will, but let me think 2 years ahead, 3 years ahead, 4 years ahead, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. And let me think, right, things go exponential. And what this means is that things will go beyond your wildest dreams. So if your wildest dreams right now for language learning is to be able to ask for directions and get a coffee in your foreign language, and this is all you think you're capable of, that's probably true within the next few months' time frame, realistically. However, on the scale of years, that is a severe misjudgment of what you're capable of on that time frame. And in fact, if you start thinking 2, 3, 5 years ahead, the results that you'll see over that time frame will be incredible if you do it every day. If you're diligent, if you put the hours in, you're likely going to notice that the thing goes exponential beyond what you can imagine right now. And you will look back 5 years down the line and say, wow, I've come so far. I've come way further than I would have thought. And this happens in every walk of life you can pretty much imagine. Career, friendships, relationships, being a parent, learning a subject, learning an instrument, starting a business, developing skills in a new field, anything. Things always go exponential. The problem with this is because of our short time frame, we often don't stay in the game long enough for things to go exponential. Exponentiality only happens after a few years. I don't want to sort of condition you by giving you a time frame, a rigid time frame, but let's say on the time frame of years, does this happen? That's really when the pursuit starts to become second nature. You start to really absorb it. You start to really get it on a deep level. It starts to become automatic. And at that point is when things start to go exponential, because you can then set your sights higher onto much more challenging things once you've developed a pretty reasonable sense of mastery, right? So I just want you to remember this. This is like crucial in all form of personal change, pretty much that you can imagine, is that things always go exponential. It will always seem difficult to begin with. It will seem like this goal that you have for the next 2, 3, or 6 months is like the ultimate goal you could possibly have for yourself. However, if you stick with it, you stay ambitious, you stay optimistic, you stay diligent, you do the hours, you put the work in, you've got the right, routine set up, you've got the right methodologies, I can guarantee you this little goal you have over the time span of years will look pretty small to you, because things always go exponential. And this is just a remarkable source of solace. And when I sort of realised this, and when I'd gone through the learning journey as an adult enough times to realise this, to have the sort of maturity to realise it, it just made things a lot easier for me. Because with new pursuits that I go into, I can say, I know I'm going to probably be terrible at it for at least a year, and that it'll be a struggle, and that any progress that I make now will look pretty puny in the future. And it just helps me relax. It means I don't have to get sort of neurotic about short-term results and seeing, where are my results? Where are my results? When are they coming? I can just relax into the process and just trust that if I keep going, that things will come and I will eventually reach levels that I cannot imagine right now. And it is so beautiful just to be able to take solace in that and to trust it, because I've seen it and I've studied enough background to know that this is how things work as well. So, things always go exponential. Remember that whenever you're in a phase of doubt or insecurity or you want to give something up, things always go exponential. It's just a matter of time, perseverance, and methodology. All right, thanks a lot for tuning in again. Make sure to come back tomorrow, 8 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. Central European time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. This is August Wisdom. I'm Ross for the Deep Psychology Podcast. Take care. See you very soon. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, please leave a review and share with a friend. And if you'd like to go deeper, head to deep-psychology.com to join my training. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.